there'll always be people that think motorcycles are dangerous. How can you persuade them otherwise? I mean, the facts and the figures don't really prove that they are dangerous. It's not the bike that's dangerous. It's the person that's riding it, and how they ride it, and how they control it, and other people on the road who don't look out for motorcyclists. I think it's a good idea to have bright clothing on, so that to try and be recognised, and it's a good idea just to be really careful when you're riding for other people's mistakes. In 1967 I went on to the FIM rally, Federation of International Motorcycle, which was held in Moscow, which in those days was behind the Iron Curtain, and we had to have invitation, special permission to go. And that was really interesting, you know, because in those days, you know, the Russian people were very, very suppressed, and it was difficult to make contact with them directly because they were watched all the time. If they spoke to foreigners, you know, and we saw one guy was sort of escorted away because he came up and was talking to us. And you know, I went to Red Square and saw the Kremlin, and you know, that was very interesting for me to be in such a different atmosphere. You know, because we were escorted through Russia, we weren't allowed to go off the road. And, so I found that really interesting. And then, my overland trip was really good, but in '74 I went down through Africa. That was very interesting. So, there have been lots of interesting trips, and it's no good saying which country is better than another, because they're all different and they all have their ups and downs, and the people, and you know. I think, just to repeat, the main thing I've learned is that it is a very friendly atmosphere in motorcycling, and that I have been accepted all around the world, and I've just learned, I've learned to take it easy and become involved with people on the road, I like to take photographs of places. I've written 3 books now on my touring, and I've got many more up in my head to write. But I like, you know, riding around rather than sitting at home writing. But I will do some more. I think with music and motorcycling, you can't go wrong meeting people and having a good time with people. Right, well, a lot of people say that, but I say to people, they say, oh, how can you afford to go over, you know? I say to them, how much money have you spent? Have you bought a new car? How much money have you spent on the extension to your house, you know, your new bathroom or your new lounge suite? How much money do you spend on your children? Because obviously children are very expensive. And I live very basically. And throughout my life, I've worked hard, sometimes having 2 or 3 jobs, you know, at one time, to save money to go on the next trip. And I haven't spent a lot of money on basic things, you know. I don't eat very much. I don't go out drinking very much. And so it's my priority is for travel. So I save money. Now I'm fortunate that I have an Australian pension, and I can get by. Throughout the world I've got contacts with. So, I go camping. I take my tent with me. Got my tent now. It's a sleeping bag, so I can stay at the side of the road, you know. I'm very fortunate in that I'm very healthy, and I lead a healthy lifestyle. I exercise, I go cycling and walking, and I eat reasonably well. I don't eat junk food. I don't smoke. Occasionally I have a cigarette, but not, and I don't drink a lot. I live a healthy lifestyle, and my brain is always ticking over because I've got so many different interests. So I think as long as you're fit, there's no reason why you can't go travelling or doing other things into later life. And I knew that I had to come to South America for my 70th because it's the last continent that I haven't been travelling by motorcycle, so I made it a plan to come here for my 70th birthday. I want to start here and have a good look around Santiago area. I want to go up the coast in Chile and then over into Peru, and of course, I'll have to go and see Machu Picchu. Then to go to Bolivia and then come down in through Argentina because there is a motorcycle meeting there at the beginning of December. I just like to, I'm sure there's lots and lots of things to see. A friend of mine did a tour over here a couple of years ago, and he's made little crosses on my map for me of places I should go and see. I'm interested in all archaeology and all sorts of historical buildings. So that's what I'd like to see. Of course it is, yeah. I think you have to adjust. It's like I was saying to you earlier that I used to ride big bikes all the time, big BMWs, not as big as the ones they make now, but they were big, and they are big and heavy bikes. And in the last few years I've had to downsize. I have lost a lot of body force, strength. I know that, and most people will tell you that they do. After the age of 50 or 60, they're not as strong as they were before. Even though they are in their mind, they're not as strong in their body. And a lot of even men that I know in Australia are downsizing their bikes as they get older, and I'm quite happy to do that. So I think the main thing is that, yes, it's the fear. It's fear that stops people from doing these things. It's always, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? I think you have to go out with an open mind and not be frightened. There are going to be hard times on the road. There always are. There's times when you think, oh, what am I doing this for? You feel really down. But there's always so many advantages, and I wrote a song about it, and when people ask me on my last long trip, why are you doing this, why are you leaving your home and your family, why are you going into the unknown, and what keeps you going, and I think just remembering with you that you have got friends, you have got people that will help you. And always when I've been on the road, if something's happened, I've actually had more good experiences when I've had a breakdown or something on, with the motorbike. But I also would like to put a bit of a warning in, which is a couple of things that have happened to me. If you're on the road for a long time by yourself, it's very physically draining and emotionally draining. And at the end of a couple of long trips that I did, I really was a bit of a mess afterwards. It took me a long time to get over them. And that's one reason that I'm only going to be on the road this time for 3 months. Because when I was nearly 2 years on the road last time, you lose a little bit of sense of reality, and you need to be able to get back and rebase yourself, and look after your body, look after your health. And I got down to about 45 kilos on my last trip, and it's too much, and it drains you mentally as well as physically. So that's the only thing against doing long trips. But otherwise, don't be frightened of going out there. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't be afraid of strange people. I've had remarkable experiences, like when I was in Iran. Everyone says, oh, you go to Iran on your own as a woman, But people were wonderful, very hospitable, and so and it renewed. When I put it up on my website, people back in England and Australia said, "Wow, it's really given us a different idea of travel in those countries." And I think that's what you have to do. Just have to realise that most people in the world, 90% of people in the world, are good people, and all they want to have is a home and a family and good times with their friends. And they don't want to rob you and be nasty. And my Facebook is Linda Bick, B-I-C-K. I think you have to be a friend.
Okay.
I don't understand very much about Facebook, but I just know that I, post things up on Facebook and people usually see it. And then they all come in from all around the world. I don't know where they come from. Yeah, I
Okay,
will
so
be
thanks a
posting.
lot
Yeah.
and have a good one.
Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it.